Why, hello there. Welcome. I'm Bright Sheep, and this is part B of my coverage of Tunic, Little Fox adventure game. Part A was just looking at, if you're new to the series, is this game right for you? Whereas this is part B that answers the question, is this game right for me? What did I make of the experience overall? I'm going to give a few things that I liked, a few things I disliked, and then just give my overall score. So then, let's do this. I came across this game because SkillUp mentioned it a few times in his weekly This Week in Video Games segments. You should definitely check those out if you haven't. So good. So helpful for knowing when new games are coming up. I grew up loving the old Legend of Zelda games from the top-down ones. Like A Link to the Past was one of my first games and I loved it so much. And so naturally, this inspired me to want to play this game. I was quite surprised at how much it struck out on its own ideas and its own way of executing things. It's got a lot of those Dark Souls inspirations in it. So thinking about things I liked. Is it too basic to say the art direction? It seems so obvious, but it's so cute and so beautiful. Thing is, right, in a lot of modern games, they try to go for this hyper-realism. But we're still in that uncanny phase of it all, where you look at it and you go, yeah, yes, it's still really obvious that it's a video game. But a strong sense of art direction changes that and says, who cares about hyperrealism? We're going to go for one thing and do that well. It's beautiful. But maybe let's not have that as my first like. I just wanted to mention it. So my first like, really, with this game are all the little secrets. I enjoyed this so much. It hadn't even occurred to me that there were secrets in this game until I stumbled across one. And then I started noticing that in the manual, all sorts of things were being given away subliminally. Now, in part A, I mentioned that there's one secret that made me chuckle so much. And that is, of course, the Holy Cross. I love that most of the game, when I saw that mentioned in the manual, I thought, oh, this is an item we're going to get at some point. Yeah, the moment that it clicked that the Holy Cross is just the D-pad. That is so funny. I love that so much. And then that led to its own series of all sorts of nooks and crannies to be found out, leading in what was one of the greatest adventures through the manual. That's right, the true ending was found through the manual. Brilliant. I've never come across that before. Man, I think in my final stream, it must have taken about an hour to figure that all out. Nah, probably longer than that. And I had this huge page full of all of left, right, up, down, down, left, up, right, because it went on forever. But I love that you wouldn't notice all those gold lines going through the pages of the manual and have linked that to the final page, or one of the final pages. Unless you're really looking out for it. But it's all there. All the information to guide you towards it is there if you're looking for it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find that page where I've got it all written down. Alright, yeah, here we are. Woo! To open and get that final ending. Let's see if I can get this on the screen. Is that showing up? There you go. I mapped it all out and then wrote down the full list of what to do. What a fun way to get a true ending. Most games would actually make you do a whole load of completion bonuses. But this one goes, nah, here's a mega puzzle and we'll just see if you're observant enough to figure it out. And in the end, I didn't actually get the other ending, the normal ending, because I tried a few times but I couldn't beat the final boss. It was a little too tricky for me. But then I just got the true ending. So good. Okay, something I disliked. This is my only real gripe with this game. and that some of the boss counters felt very unfair. Now, I don't know how this really matches up to, say, Soulsborne games, where you're supposed to work at it over and over again. So I don't know if they have tells and if they have certain things that you're supposed to just inherently know how to do, but I think about, especially the boss scavenger, that one took me so many tries. One of the things that got me about him was I couldn't figure out the patterns, and another thing that got me about it was he has this move where he shoots a gun, does loads of damage, and I swear there's no telegraph, nothing that says I'm about to use the gun move. It just sort of comes out almost instantly, and you have to be able to somehow dodge that. Felt really unfair. And that's one thing I will say, a lot of the bosses felt... No, not a lot of the bosses. Some of the bosses felt quite patternless. By the way, it's raining outside right now, which is definitely my happy space. When I'm indoors, I've got a cup of tea, and I can hear the rain coming down. Ah, bliss. But yeah, the boss scavenger sucked so much. And like I say, I never beat the final boss. I don't remember if any of the others were as problematic. I think most of them I just found a way to figure it out. But they still had moves that were a bit, ugh, okay, how do I avoid that? You know what I mean? And just while I'm thinking about it, I want to make a part C video. And in that video, I will actually respond to your comments on this game. So I would love for you to leave a comment down below. Something you liked or something you didn't like. Try and be relatively succinct. And I'd love to have a discussion about it in a different video. I'd love to see you there if I ever get enough comments for that. Thing I love, number 2. There's a room tucked away where you can customize your fox. How great is that? That should normally be a main menu kind of item or a start of your game sort of thing. That can't be easy to implement, but it's just a hidden Easter egg. Hidden in plain sight. I actually stumbled across it. I'll show the clip on the screen now. Oh, I was delighted to make my little fox my own. What a great little thing to do. Oh, so good. That protagonist is so cute. Yeah, I went with silver with pink highlights. So good. I love that. Oh, I love that so much. So good. Way better than the cube. I never figured out the cube. Did you? I didn't know what to do with it. I know it's probably one of those fairy things, right? But I couldn't work out what I was supposed to do in terms of the Holy Cross with it. Tried all sorts. Nah. Things I didn't like. The turrets really annoyed me, and the giant crabs were really annoying, but they weren't super relevant, so that's fine. The turrets, it's more of a nitpick. Doesn't really matter, but I just found just throw some dynamite at them if I have them on me, and then that was fine. It's really hard to find things I don't like about this game. And a really small third thing that I loved a lot. The shopkeeper. I don't know why, I found that big dude really awesome. He was so polite despite being a giant fearsome skeleton. I always liked going to visit him. Wish I could have had more of a conversation with him. And then a third thing that I didn't like, it doesn't really matter, but a whole bunch of the consumable items I never really quite knew what to do with. Like, I don't think I ever used the doll. I think the doll that's supposed to distract the enemies, I'm not really sure when that's supposed to be useful. That said, I probably died at a whole load of places where I should have been using it and making the best of it. Not really a big deal breaker, is it? So, as you might have guessed, I had a really good time with this game. I will say, I'm not putting pressure on myself to do a second playthrough. I started the New Game Plus and I love the sequence breaks that you can have with it, and they've interspersed all sorts of really hard enemies around. That must be really interesting to play through, so I'll give that a go at some point, I'm sure. But right now, I think I'm okay not to give it a go just yet. So what am I going to give this game? For me, it's a 9 out of 10. It loses one because there's something on a slightly deeper level that didn't quite resonate that normally 10 out of 10 games do. 10 out of 10 games don't have to be perfect. They just have to resonate with me in some sort of way. Like with Hollow Knight or Outer Wilds. I really loved playing through Tunic, and I look forward to playing through it again someday. So like I say, what did you like about this game? Leave your comments down below. Something you liked, something you didn't like. And we'll make a part C video. Till then, this has been Bright Sheep signing off.